Greetings and felicitations.
Okay, here comes the first round.
Boom. And
Jeez, that was just
boom.
unnecessary. You kidding me? You can't be out of range? What?
greetings and felicitations, YouTube. Jarl of the Appian way here with a replay of my own. I just did a quick battle, and it was against a player that I had actually been warned about earlier this day. People were telling me, be careful of this guy, he plays real cheesy, and he did something that you could call cheesy, but I don't think he did it distastefully. And honestly, he won because he caught me off guard with his army build, and because of a maneuver he pulls off, which I was really impressed by. So anyway, he picked Dardania. I decided I wanted to pick Dardania into him, just for, you know, just for the fun of it. It's a little bit of a mirror match here, but it's obvious who's on whose side. We'll go over my army first. Since he was going Dardania, I was expecting to see some, you know, some heavy infantry options, so I brought my archer skirmisher hero with the intent of shooting that up. As you can see, there's nothing in this army that's heavy. None of his unit options are heavy. I did bring 3 fearless swords, a Dardanian defender, and a heavy Anatolian sword. Thinking I'd have the heavy infantry advantage, and funny thing was, I did. I just didn't need to invest more than 6,000 points into it. I brought 2 chariots, and I tried doing my hidden chariot trick. The downside to deploying them here is that in order for them to get to the battle, they're going to have to go through the trees. That's going to play against me. I've got my 2 Dardanian rabble, 2 centaur warriors, and a centaur champion to escort my 2 chariots. You know, classic Dardania play here. I've already got my hero into position, and I'm trying to take some shots at the renowned Dardanian sword fighters, because he spent 9,000 points. 9,000 points on renowned Dardanian sword fighters. That is more than, what is that, 2/3 of his army, almost 3/4. He's also got 3 units of Dardanian rabble, which are going to do their best to just kind of screen my hero away, but I have a trump card here. My hero can just run them over. I'm not going to care too much. The problem comes if the rest of the infantry and the cavalry decide they want to come after my hero. And then he's also got a pair of Savage Centaur Warriors, and he put a Fighter Champion hero in the in this chariot. I don't think this is the greatest plan. I mean, I'm not a big fan of the Fighter Champion anyway. Frenzy isn't that great of an ability because the attack interval doesn't play into his damage as well as you think it would, and it just costs stamina, which makes all of his other stats go down anyway. The Aegis of Zeus is only good if your opponent brings missiles, and hello, have you played against me before? Cleave is good, though. I like Cleave. I think you're just better off with using a different fighter that has Cleave. Anyway, let's get into the throw of this. So I'm going to go ahead, and I'm seeing his army. I'm going to go ahead and set up a line right here, with the intent being that once he commits his infantry into me, I'll be able to come at him like this, and if I can keep him distracted with my hero over here, he might not think to try and sweep through the trees, and I'll eventually be able to get my chariots out here and into play as well, because hey, look at all this medium infantry. This should be a walk in the park for my chariots, right? So I'm going ahead and I'm just going to go ahead and start positioning these forces over here. I'm still picking some shots out here. He's using his Dardanian rabbles just to kind of, you know, force me back, and he's on fire at will, so he is wasting some ammo into the Dardanian rabble. But I'm going to do what I can to get my hero close enough to shoot these renowned Dardanian sworn fighters anyway. I'm already up to 15 kills, and some of those against renowned Dardanian sworn fighters, at least 5 so far. And this is actually the really cool part of his strategy. He has no intention to engage and outflank, which would be my instinct. I'd be like, okay, if I have all of these flanking infantry as my main force, I need to use some of them to tie these down, and then use the rest to get around to the side and outposition them. What he does is actually far, far more clever. So yeah, you heard there, my hero was under attack. That was just me, you know, testing the waters and running over a bunch of his Dardanian rabbles. No big deal. I'm going to go ahead and let my my heavy infantry here, my fearless swords and Dardanian defenders, just unleash their javelins. You'll note over here that I have a heavy Anatolian sword in the center. The renowned Dardanian sword fighter is actually a more expensive unit than the heavy Anatolian swords, and is also better. So here's how he plays this. He puts his 2 groups of renowned Dardanian sword fighters, he puts them into 2 groups. As you can see, the initial charge, I charge his front line. I'm like, okay, I'll meet you. That way, it's not just one charge against, you know, a static force. But then he pulls back his already engaged line and then charges in with the second line. Why this is so good you'll note that my micro is too slow to compensate for it over here. Because all of this line had attack orders against this first line, they were going to chase these guys. So while they were chasing these guys, he was able to get a free charge on me and then mix in my lines. And as you can see, this had an instant impact. Some of my Fearless Swords are already breaking because they just got charged for free, and then numbers mixed in, and then the other line gets to come back in. So this forces me to commit my my cavalry to support this infantry. And I'm trying to get my chariots over here, but hey, guess what? Speed 22. They're just gonna putz their way on over. My Savage Centaur warriors, and even my Centaur champions, I was surprised by this. Centaur champions not doing well against renowned Dardanian sworn fighters. So really shocked by this. But he's also got his cavalry up in here. He got a breach in the middle very quickly. He's got me in a 3-to-1 scenario over here. My hero is still up here shooting in the backs of their renowned Dardanian sworn fighters. But as you can see, he's just got my entire line routing. I finally get my chariots through, but I think at this point it's too little too late. I needed them back here, just even as an obvious open play, because he had a plan that was to force me to pull through his charging infantry. And that just made the impact of his charging infantry so much better. So much better. And I mean, I got my butt handed to me. Now, there's this to be said. I had been warned about this player in advance. Everything that I had been warned about wasn't the way this guy played. So I picked my army thinking, okay, if he's gonna try and mirror match me, because that's what I thought he was going to do, he'd bring a certain Dardanian build, and I'll be prepared for it. I was told that he plays kind of cheesy sometimes, and so I was expecting, the tactics to be kind of cheesy. That was a good tactic. That was just straight up good. He had 2 lines. He had them in Group 1, Group 2, or however it was, and he had a hard group attack, and then a pullback, and then a hard group attack, so all he had to do was click a couple of orders. Even if I was on hard grouping, I would have had trouble microing that because the units would have attacked whatever was available for them to attack, which might have been the routing infantry. I had to manually click every single attack order down the line for my 5 heavy infantry options, and they just got hounded. My chariots are trying their hardest here. I'm up to 77 kills and counting. As you can see, there's a bunch of losing renowned Dardanian sworn fighters all over the field of play, but man, my Centaur champions not doing well against renowned Dardanian sworn fighters, and that was kind of heartbreaking for me. Meanwhile, out here, he's wisely keeping his hero chasing this heavy Trojan chariot, keeping it from regrouping and coming back, and then this one breaks. At this point, I had already offered, about a minute ago, I'd already offered up the GG to my opponent. And it was a very, very straightforward victory for him, I'd say. With that, I'd say, really, really cool maneuver that forced me to use my micro as quick as I can, but still with a losing result. It was very, very interestingly played. You might be wondering why I'm not upset that he brought 10 renowned Dardanian sworn fighters. And the reason why is because he didn't just bring renowned Dardanian sworn fighters. He brought other units. Let me show you. It was the fact that he had also brought, the Savage Centaur warriors to help slow down cavalry attacks, and the fact that he also brought some Dardanian rabble to help secure some of his flanks on his maneuvering. And yeah, what is this? 3/4 of his army is renowned Dardanian sworn fighters, and it's a good unit. I never would have expected to play against that as Dardania. I guess it was a counter to a counter pick. I don't know. Maybe he kind of thought, well, if this guy's going to play Dardania against Dardania, but I mean, once you get that deep into it, it's usually not even worth it. He played a strategy that worked out really well, and I was very impressed. The MVP of this battle by damage is definitely this renowned Dardanian sworn fighter right here with 135 kills. This is the one that got the second charge in the main line, and then broke right through my poor outnumbered and overwhelmed heavy Anatolian swords, got through the middle, and then engaged my Centaur champions and beat them. I'm, again, really shocked by that. I would never have predicted this unit. I don't even think it has anti-large. It doesn't have a lot of armor piercing, but it did phenomenally against Centaur champions, so this unit might require a little bit more of a peek to see what's going on. I remember liking them very much early on when Troy first came out on Epic. And in particular, I really loved them in campaigns. Anyway, That's it for this video. If you have any thoughts about this play, about that maneuver in particular, about playing armies like this, put them in the comments. I'd be interested to read them. Anyway, that's it for me today. Ta-ta. I love you all. If you want to support the channel, I've got a Ko-Fi link, and also if you happen to have YouTube Premium, just download this video. It counts as a free whole extra view for me. It's so weird like that. Ta-ta. Love you all. Have a good one.